renegotiate my contract.
Oh no, I remember this talk.
Yeah, with the KBG Productions studio.
I was thinking more of the Joe Budden podcast. But welcome, guys.
And how is their and how is their failed podcast?
Oh, hey, we got scream.
Am I loud? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's all good.
No.
I should be able to scream, and it shouldn't be too loud. That's a problem.
I know failure makes you upset. Failure makes you annoyed. I get it.
He'd be pissed
people
off.
Need to be yelled at.
Yeah, I get that. That's the best motivator.
Only if they deserve it, you know.
No.
Only if they really deserve it.
I feel like everyone should be kept on their toes. I think the biggest problem with the youth coming up is the lack of bullying, but that's a different tier list.
Well, I got a little story right here to share with you guys. Now, it's not quite about bullying, but it is about getting in trouble in school.
Oh, shit.
Really?
So, the kids today, there's always a new thing with them. There's always a new trend on the internet, that we were just a little bit ahead of that. But, there were trends and stuff when we were coming into high school. So there's this post I saw the other day from the teachers subreddit where teachers tell stories and ask questions. And this anecdote amused me because it kind of reminded me of us. So here it goes. In my 10th year of teaching, mostly freshmen, and I'm in my 10th year of teaching, mostly freshmen, and I swear to God, ever since the pandemic, and in parentheses, and honestly like 5 years before that, there's always this new thing students bring to school that they learned over the summer from the internet or whatever. Oh, yeah. The newest thing here is a flock of self-proclaimed coin boys.
Oh, okay.
Quotes, who carry a quarter on hand at all times and constantly flip it. They have their entire personality revolve around coins, coin flips, and chance. When we went around doing an icebreaker, 4 or 5 of the kids said some variation of "I live by the coin and die by the coin."
Let's go.
Just about an hour ago, when I assigned the first assignment of the school year, one of the coin boys was bold enough to say, "Heads I do it, tails I don't." I told him if he flipped the coin, he would be getting a call home on his first week of high school. He flipped it anyway, and it came up heads. Thank God for that, at least. Then the other coin boy in that class flipped his coin. It came up tails. He said the coin has spoken, and he's not doing the homework. I say, very well, enjoy your 0 and your call home. What a great way to start off the school year and your high school career. I really hope this dies off soon. I haven't seen anything about this online when I Googled it, so I'm guessing it's just a local friend group thing, unless one of you has more info. So I don't know, are there coin boys out there?
Hey, any coin boys out there tonight? Let us know.
It sounds like when I heard the term coin boy, I immediately imagined the old gangster in the class.
Yeah.
The class gangster that hasn't dropped out yet.
Like, he's flipping the coin in the corner.
Yeah, it's just, but
under
now
a street lamp.
It's not cool because I was like, okay, that's kind of like a cool retro aesthetic to try to bring back. It might be a little annoying, the flipping, but if there was just some people doing that in the background, I'd be like, oh, okay, I see what you guys are doing. But if you're actually abiding, like, apparently this is your master, that's like, you're letting it decide for you.
You're Harvey Denting the whole thing. It's
Two-Face.
Too far. It's too far.
It's just like, it gets to a point where it's like, bro, even if you did get on the internet or Reddit or wherever, it's like, have some autonomy, have some thought. Like,
my brother and I were laughing that if this was if there was an episode about a slice of life cartoon about this, let's say if it was an episode of Hey Arnold or Clarence or something like that. There's an episode where the gang characters are like, we're coin boys now, but they have to consult it for everything. So there's fun stuff they're missing out on. So say your crush asks you on a date or asks you to hang out. You're like, oh yeah. And then they're like, hey, did you ask the coin?
Gotta flip for it.
Like, oh.
Did you ask the coin?
Then you flip the coin. It's like heads I do it, tails I don't. It's tails. And you gotta go, sorry. Even though the character wants to. She's like, oh, all right.
I mean, that's
fun.
That's one way to live life, I guess. It was just a weird, exhausting way if you think about it.
I feel like it
a
stems
really
from
funny
something
gimmick.
else.
It is a gimmick, a fun gimmick.
They're gonna think of something. If it's not Coin Boys, it's gonna be like the stick men or something like that. Like they're gonna still not do the homework. I think it's just gonna. I think it's in their minds anyway. But it's like, you know what? I'm gonna use the coin thing to try and get out of homework. It's
like these aren't like
seniors
now who are bored.
That's true though.
Like first day of high school.
Freshmen.
I'm gonna look the teacher in the eye and tell him.
That is bold.
Yeah, like I got 4 years of seeing this teacher.
It is bold, but it is such.
It makes so much more sense, but the freshman thing doesn't make any sense.
Like I don't know.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Maybe seniors did rock fidget spinners and shit, but I feel like the younger kids were more on it when it came out than the senior class. Because that was around our time a little bit.
I bet there was a spinner squad like right after we left high school.
Yeah,
there would have been a spinner squad. No, right after we left college. So it was way after.
The fidget
spinners were like 2017, right?
They kind of were. I think they were around
summer
16, 17, something like that. Yeah, that's right. They were a big, there's always sort of a thing, like she said, like
so okay, no,
internet and whatnot.
You're right. And summer 16, the thing was Pokemon Go. I remember it well.
Yeah, that was a thing.
The summer
everyone did that though.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes there's a thing that's it's like it's niche among a group of teens.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say some of those things though are like dangerous or really stupid. What I find funny about this one is like this feels like something out of like a 1930s comic strip is what I said on Twitter. I said this honestly it feels like an episode of like Little Rascals, like from the 30s. Like you got like Spanky in the class, like heads I do it, tails I don't. Except back then, like you get paddled. Like enjoy your call home. Also, you're beating from the teacher, and then the one when you get home. Yeah, like you said, it evokes like the guy on the street corner, because that's what I thought when she said around flipping the coin, and I'm like, are these like kids like who think like, yeah, toothpicks are cool, or some version of, and this is when we were in high school, the fedora. We were in the fedora era.
Mm-hmm. The fedora.
But I don't know if we can say like
fedora era might still be a thing.
Yeah, I'm about to say that's like a micro culture that kind of got
the fedora boys, if you will.
Like
that's what I mean.
Internet.
Like,
but like I mean, it's like fidget spinners.
Is
and
coin boys here to stay?
I hope people aren't in the bars at 22 coin boying. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It does sound like a very young person's thing. I mean, 14-year-olds.
Yeah. It sounds too close to crypto. Like, I feel like it's going to die out once you get a little bit older and you start learning a little bit more about finance. You're going to understand, like, oh, there's like a coin for everything. There's Bitcoin, Dogecoin.
They're going to
There's all kinds of cringe things you can get into in your 20s that are different.
Oh, yeah.
See, coin boys will mean something totally different once you reach your 20s. You become
I think at my school, before I went and met up with you guys, I think the thing was making the stingers, I think they called them, where it's like these rubber band slingshot things with like a folded piece of paper that would actually like sting the mess out of you. And the whole thing was how sharp can you make it? And then obviously they got banned eventually. But
cutting people.
Yeah, that was like a thing.
It goes through someone's arm.
Right.
All right. Maybe we made it too sharp. All right.
That's always kind
suspended
of like,
for 2 days.
There's always got to be a little bit of a goal from like every group of like, especially guys, like your group of friends. If you have a little like thing, like an inside joke or like a new activity or game you guys do, and if it gets bad enough to where the school has to like pull you guys aside and say something, or if it spreads around the school enough that the school has to be like, everyone, you can't do this now. Like, I feel like that's how you really lived. Like, that's part of the school experience. Like, and then you can be like, and no one maybe would believe you, but you could be like, we started that.
Years later,
point
they'll
of
look
pride.
back on like the handbook and they'll see that little clause in there and they'll be like, what, what's a fidget spinner? What's a coin? I don't know.
Well, like people got like real into like pencil grippers when I was in elementary school, and that became too much of a thing.
I remember we traded pens like they were stocks.
See, this is why it's good for kids to be bored, because they like come up with stuff like that.
You know, the fancy ones you get at like the doctor's office or something. We'd bring those in and be like, "Hey, look at this one though. Oh, that
like
one's
a
really
real
cool."
blue chip, high value pen.
It's the clicker. The clicker is actually on the side of the pen. So I'm trading 3 of my pens for your super pen. So
You're like the kid, with all like the you're like the kid like with one of those like actual like not quill tip pens, but you know what I'm talking about, like the actual like elegant like tip, the little classic metal tip, and like, oh, here comes Mr. Bitches, like
opens up a little bit. It's very sensual.
Yeah.
It's very unusually sensual.
Josh, we can't see your face.
That's just. If you ask me.
What?
If you ask.
We're just getting your chin.
Oh, okay.
And a little bit of a map. What's the map of?
Oh, but that's okay. The people
map?
have a different angle.
Yeah.
Wait, you have a map?
Oh yeah. That's my
Okay, we
desktop.
gotta know about. Yo.
Yeah.
He's got plans.
Is that the Earth?
No, it's. Wait, I didn't mean to stop.
Wait, it says China, doesn't it?
Canceled.
You said no.
He's revealing his plan. There's like all these areas circled.
See, the stream can't see it, but my map.
He has the strings like attached. Push pins. It's just the world.
These days, it's just the world.
It's Pangea in the early ADs.
Very basic. I think a lot of people have this. God damn it! It's just a long mouse mat that goes across the whole desktop because gamers need a huge. Yeah.
Yo, are you wearing pants?
Yes,
no, those are just shorts. Okay.
I'm wearing my little pink carnation shorts. I'm trying to get this. I got a new monitor that's way better, but it's not good at holding my phone like the other monitor was. But all right. Yep. Now we here.
Are we ranking anything today?
We ranking hats,
speaking of fashion. Yeah, speaking of fashion, we're here to rank some hats.
Oh God, I hit the mic. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Happens.
We got
but
kind
it's
of
not.
Yeah,
it's not shorts.
I didn't make these up. I did not make these up. These rankings. These were the default rankings. I sleep with them.
I like them.
Yeah, I mean,
I sleep with them.
These motherfuckers, they mean it.
All right.
Now, I'll be honest. I've never been much of a hat guy. Like, you guys could wear hats.
Me neither.
Like, growing up.
I did a few times.
Josh is a big hat guy. Me, I've never been a hat guy. I wish I was, because there are days where my hair's not acting right, and I'm like, I wish I could just put a hat on. Like, my brother wears a ball cap all the time, but I've never been a hat guy. I'm a sunglasses guy.
Let's do this. Dom, out of all these hats, if you were having a bad hair day, you wanted to cover it up, which one do you think you would pick out of all these hats here?
You know, I don't think I've worn a top hat before. I think I could pull off a top hat. The problem is,
yes, I think you could.
I'd be like, I'd be a jerk. I'd be like, oh, I'm the mayor of, art or comics or whatever. Like, you can't just throw that on anything. You can't even just wear a suit. That has to be with a tux.
Yeah.
A whole tux with the tails and everything.
Who wears
possibly
a top
even
hat?
a cane?
It used to be very popular.
They did, yeah. So the top hat
stovetop
in the 1800s, if you were like a fancy gentleman, you wore that top hat all the time. And then in the 20th century, it was like, well, we don't really wear these out, but we wear them if we're like getting fancy in a tux, like a black tie event. And then I would say around after the 50s or 60s, people are just like, nah, we don't need the top hat.
Was it one of the world wars that really killed it off? Because it was around then that they just started to get gone.
I think again, so like World War I era. I think like government officials and like fancy gentlemen would still wear them.
Mm.
And then
Yes. Monocle
like post World
cane.
War, yeah, and like post World War One, people really only wore top hats with like black tie events. So if you like went to a fancy party or something like that, you would wear one. And post World War Two, kind of similar, but I think they were even less common. Like by the 50s, I think you just wore them at like if you're the groom at a wedding, or if you were one of the groomsmen or something like that, or if you were like a tap dancer or something. Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
They just didn't really. But now, because of that, they do have sort of like a showman quality to them. Like a guy shows up with a top hat, and you're like, oh, he's
I don't
here to
hate
entertain
it.
us.
I think they look stupid. I just think like just because they are so specific that if you don't wear it in other than a specific setting or specific outfits, like what are you doing?
Right, you can't wear it just with any. I mean, like I said, you can't even wear it just with any suit. You need like tails,
And I know steampunkists, they tried. I know Slash tried.
They put the goggles on them.
But no.
To try and make it work.
Yeah, see, they try to do things
like gears and
and I think magicians tried too.
Well, yeah, steampunk couldn't take off because it was like a whole fashion movement about wearing hard to wear things. So it's like, let me put on like 5 layers. Let me put on like a leather duster, and of course that like
one giant piece of armor for one side of my body.
Yeah, exactly. I went through a phase where I thought it was cool to draw as a teenager, but also if you think about steampunk, well, we can talk about this another time, but there's no like definitive steampunk property other than like Jules Verne books.
You know
what I mean?
Interesting. Is
like
there not?
Well, kind of, but not really. Like if you look at cyberpunk, there's so many examples. There's Blade Runner, there's all the Philip K. Dick books. There's so many video games, but steampunk doesn't really have like a definitive, like if you were describing it to someone, you'd have to think, well, it was like the futurism of the 1800s. That's what it was.
Right.
And that's just, there are not a lot of hot air balloon movies,
There really isn't. He's right. He's right.
Because it's too slow, and that's the whole problem with Steam.
Should we rather not then with the hat?
Well,
with the top hat?
They can look cool though with like the right look. Like I think I'd look stupid on one, but like on like a character or something, it can be an iconic thing,
I feel like I would have to work at some kind of carnival if I put one on.
Like on
I'm a magician.
Like on Mr. Peanut.
Mr. Peanut rocks it though.
Yeah.
He looks good, I gotta say. Maybe it's his peanut body shape. But
I would say good enough, I guess, just because it's like
not bad.
I wouldn't wear it.
Now, if we did see it, it would be on some TikToker with a dangly upside down cross earring.
Yeah.
With like some tat on his chin line that says "misunderstood," and it just made me annoyed.
Welcome to my misfit carnival.
Yeah,
he's
bro.
He's like swallows swords or something.
We get it. You have a Tumblr page. Moving on.
All right, berets. Another pretentious.
Is that what that is?
Now this is the pretentious hat that I will say I don't mind. This is the top hat I don't mind.
I think that berets look cute on girls. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, they do.
Like I'm drawing a little girl character, and I put a little beret on, and I'm like, oh, that's cute. That's nice. On a guy, I don't know. It depends, but
it has to be. You can't be. You cannot. You either have to be really overweight or really slender. You can't be athletic with a beret, and you can't be just average with a beret.
I think.
I've never thought about an athletic build in a beret before. That was a weird image.
I think of it as like an old European man, like a charming old man. Like he's sitting in front of a cafe with a tiny little cup of espresso.
He's got his little cuppa.
You almost can't have hair if you're a guy and have a beret.
Yeah.
Artist, right?
Long
With the
hair.
easel. What do they call that thing where you put your thumb through it? Palette.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That thing always looks cool. I never used
Well,
one.
you know,
That's
it
just
kind of
what I
got that
see.
like, because obviously French artists, but then like beatniks started wearing them like in the 50s and stuff, and then that became sort of the hipster thing. But
Also
you know,
military.
I was gonna say that's a different type of beret, but now those look cool. Now
Those
that's
do
what
look
you
pretty
would
cool.
see on like a muscular guy.
Yeah.
They look sort of very high class. Yeah.
They make me think of
Like
like British soldiers. They wear those, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or maybe some branches of our military.
Well, like Green Beret.
Green Beret,
Yeah.
Marines.
Yeah.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, exactly. A
Nice
beret.
grab and go hat too. It almost can't get messed up because it's kind of wrinkly by design.
Yeah, you just
I would not say every day all
Doesn't
day,
come
but
off
it's almost
easily.
another good enough. It's not bad.
Yeah.
But
It's a good
you don't
accessory.
wear it all day, every day. It's not somebody's. I mean, if somebody does choose this hat, they're choosing it all day, every day as their only hat. Like they're just the person that wears the beret.
well,
But
it's
I
like
don't think.
it's like the top hat where it's not for everyone. You have to have a certain look to go with it, but if done right, it can look really cool.
Really done up. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now with
All
the
right, the
beanie, you know how I feel about beanies. I'm an everyday all day
Very
guy on
practical.
these.
You like beanies?
I like them because I have an afro
Mm-hmm.
and it can capture all that volume. It sucks
Sure.
on a hotter days like this. It's July and August around the only 2 months where I have to pick my hair out, but usually I rock a beanie.
Right. Nothing wrong
Some
with a
days.
beanie. I don't look good in a beanie, but you know, if it's really cold out and I got to shovel the driveway, I gotta put on a snow beanie so it's practical. Look, I think they're a great hat. Good enough, but they're warm, they're comfortable.
Get the job done.
Yeah.
Days like today where I don't feel like brushing my hair, I'll put one on. You know, just it's very easy. But then, of course, exactly like Don was saying, it's the days where you got to shovel in, be warm up there.
Yep.
It's
that's why they've
it's
been
an all
around
day.
so
I mean,
long.
I really like. I own. This is what I don't own a beret or anything, but I do own a beanie.
Yeah, they didn't really become like a fashion thing until I don't know, if I just had to guess, maybe the 70s, you know. I think it did
I was
start
gonna guess
with, you know, black
80s, but
guys.
I guess
But you gotta be
70s
thinking
though
about black
with the
people.
yeah, black
Yeah.
people been rocking
Right.
it, and it was almost like a fight the power symbol a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
they were a
Yeah, 'cause,
lot.
I mean,
they sat up a lot higher up on your head back then in the early days.
Yeah,
yeah, you could. Well, it depends how you wore your hair. Yeah, because obviously before that, just like you know, like blue jeans or like they were just if you were on a boat or you know, it was just to keep your head warm. You know, it was like a laborer's hat. Before
I don't
that.
even think I saw the whole. I mean, I'm sure it's out there, but the whole it at least popularized the whole like shoving it down, not folding it up at all, or not sitting it up at all, like all the way down, like right to the brow. That was like 8 Mile.
yeah.
Is that who really popularized that?
Well,
I
think
could be
it
wrong.
Holding her skull.
comes and goes. You know, and also there's different kinds of beanies. There's beanies that are really roomy, so Tim, like someone like you with long
Right.
hair, you know, you wear it kind of high and it holds everything back there, or you can have a tight beanie if you're like an Eminem type, buzz cut.
It's really
The
practical.
variety of this thing, I'm
It's
telling
very
you.
practical. It goes with almost every outfit, even
This has
formal
gotta
wear. If you wanted to be a little hip hop with it, people would look past
Yeah.
it if you put a beanie on the suit.
Yeah, you can.
So-
In like the winter with like a pea coat and
Yeah.
jacket. Yeah, it's a little like fashionable casual.
And color it to match your tie.
Every day, all day. It's a good
Yeah,
one.
I'll
Yeah.
throw it there. The hats, it depends on, for me, hats like this definitely depend on only the strappage.
Okay.
I can't do
I don't do
Velcro.
fitted.
I love fitted.
I can't do
snapback.
Yeah.
If I do snapback, I can't have it snapped. I have it
Do you do
unsnapped.
adjustable at all?
I don't like adjustable shit.
Okay, here we go.
I don't like adjustable shit, but I like no name brand shit on my hats. I like how the hat is blank.
So there's 2 like build caps on this tier list.
Yeah, like let me bring this guy over here. Is that what you're talking about? The NBA guy?
Yep.
See, now this hat is kind of what I would wear, but I just don't like logos on my hat unless it's my product.
Yeah.
Other than
I know what you mean.
Okay, yeah, true.
The classic ball cap has many uses, you know. Obviously, to be athletic. I see it now, and I kind of think, I know directors always wear them, so I think,
right.
you know, it looks like someone who's like on site, or like a white collar guy who's like, I'm taking the day off. Puts on a ball cap. Big friend of bald white guys. If you're like a balding white guy, ball cap.
Best friend
is going to be your best friend. My brother wears a ball cap like this all the time, but he's got good hair.
But
but some people, they just pull them off. This kind you can wear backwards more than the flat brim. The flat brim, I mean, you can, but they're not really made for it.
But it does have a use. It does block the sun if you wear it front ways.
Right. Exactly.
You can't
I don't know though, but
I
never really wore ball caps, so I'm neutral on that.
That's surprising since you grew up in the 90s.
Not surprising.
That's
actually, that's
they were
true.
Everywhere, of course. Yeah, you know, cartoon character backwards, you know, baseball cap.
Ash Ketchum.
Dang.
Come on, the hat god.
Dang.
Ash Ketchum.
He meant
he put it backwards. Man. And we all remember when he would put it backwards.
Oh, he was gonna kind of almost sometimes
Chills.
Always catch that Pokemon.
Goosebumps all throughout my arm.
Oh yeah, and he would freaking get up on his face, and he would look so serious. And look just like Professor Oak.
And that's when I fell in love with ball caps. Now I wore them sometimes.
I mean, I still have a decent. So I actually looked at my ball cap collection, and I thought I need to step that up, but. I think it's a good hat. I think it's better than just good enough. I would put it probably on the same rank as the beanie. Probably more practical year-round use with the ball cap. But I can use beanies year-round because I've conditioned my skull to take the heat.
Sure.
So,
yeah.
Moving on to the fitted. Wait, what were you about to say?
No, I said you're ventilated. You've drilled holes into your skull. And this one, right? Same deal, or?
Now,
these became big when we were in high school.
Yes, and the big thing of not taking the purchase stickers off. If you did that, then the hat wasn't cool anymore.
I took the sticker off mine like a goober because I had common sense, and I thought, well, surely you bought the hat,
And he was called to the principal's office. And the
I don't even remember buying mine.
Said,
I just remember I found
why
it
are you
day.
playing with this? Are you playing?
Why are you playing?
Imagine the principal like calling you out for stuff like that.
Hey yo, why are you playing?
Are you tripping today? Are you tripping today? I'm just wondering.
So I heard you ripped the sticker off. Are you a fucking lame or?
Just went to a Catholic school with a uniform. They're like, not only is that a uniform violation.
Dude, speaking of hats and Catholic uniforms, the first Jeans Day that we had, and I found out we can wear a hat. I wore a hat, and I don't know shit about alcohol. I don't know shit about it. And I had a hat apparently that was an alcohol brand, and I didn't know that.
Right.
And then so I was like. Sent to the principal's office at lunch, and then I forget who our disciplinary officer was, but he was just like, "You should know better than wearing that to Jeans Day." And I was like, "I thought you could wear hats." He's like, "You know what that hat is?" And I was just like, "A hat." And he's just like, "You know what the brand is?" I know I didn't. It's literally the weird like italic. Weird. I think it's like
says Svedka.
I forget what it was. Yeah, right. It wasn't obvious though.
So it's not like it wasn't like a Coors or like a really well known.
Not that I knew.
Budweiser.
Honestly, it said more
like,
about
I didn't know
than me because I think only a few teachers kind of looked at my hat and kind of like did a little chuckle But no students. No students were like, dude, that's alcohol. No student did that.
So it's probably something just adults drink. He probably looked at that and he's like, I drink that. You can't.
Right. So
right.
That's what.
Wait a minute, I recognize that.
Because they're gonna write me up, but then I think Dr. Mordock saved me. I didn't mean to just dox him, but shout out to him. He's fucking retired anyway. No, he's not. But anyway.
To dox him.
But anyway. But yeah, he came into my defense. He's like, "No, come on. Like, I only know that because I'm in a certain tax bracket. Like, this must be some high end shit that I was repping that day." So thank God for him, or I would have been written up for a hat.
Yeah, he was cool. He was, but he was like our advocate. The students.
Yeah, he was.
He was the people's champ.
I will say this kind of hat does, to me, lose to the ball cap, but I'd like to see what you guys think about it. I do like the fittedness of it, but I don't like the because with the brim.
I used to like flat better. Now I like curved better.
Yeah, the flat brim. It's just okay. Well, you go ahead, because for me the flat brim just gives away too much.
Well, I think because it was sort of like the rapper style hat. I think you had a lot of guys wearing them that just could not pull them off in high school. You know what I mean? One of those was even me. Like even tried. Tim, I don't think you looked too bad though.
Oh, really?
Well, here's the thing.
I did have a buzz cut back then. That felt a little bit better. I feel like now with my longer hair. Yeah, my shorter hair, maybe the opposite would be true. I'd rather wear a flat bill. I didn't think about that.
But we were also teenagers, and I think it became like sort of a hip thing to wear them. Sometimes guys would wear them, like if you were a Tool, you wore it like your popped polo with like a flat brim, or you later high school you were a hipster. You had like an Adventure Time or Star Wars one. Remember those? Hip.
I do. We went to like Spencer's Gifts or like maybe a Zoomies or something.
Oh yeah, or sometimes there'd be like a Sesame Street one. Like those were like a hip thing.
Yeah.
And some people could really rock them, but other people you would just look like. Here's the thing. I think you can get away with it as a teenager, but I think if you're the type of guy who can't pull it off in your 20s, but you're still wearing one. It's like, do you work at a vape shop? You look like a guy who's like, my job's a DJ. And then there's anything wrong with being a DJ, but like a guy who's only a DJ. Yeah. And, you know the type I'm talking about,
exactly
obviously. I'm not like, I'm not talking about like someone who's like, oh, I'm a pro, like a guy who's like, yeah, I am.
The dream really maker, not necessarily the dream chaser or chance taker type.
Yeah.
I'm a DJ as a profession, but my Spotify playlist is on deck.
So it can. So here's the thing: like, it's a hat that can look like hip and cool, but it can also be a dirtbag look. You know what I mean?
Quite easily.
So it's
should it go down to good enough because of that, or should we keep it?
I don't know.
I would say good enough just because it's not on the level of beanie. Because I mean, you can't wear that with everything, like the beanie.
No, a beanie and a classic ball cap are just more classic and versatile. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. I mean, I've seen people try to wear the goddamn hip hop hat with a suit and stuff like at prom. It just then it looks stupid.
That's when it would be like just a little trashy.
Yeah. Minus 10 points on the formality scale there.
Exactly.
Now moving on to something I think is only for people who think that they're funny.
Yeah. This look, if you have the real deal of this, it's cool.
Yeah. If you actually are certified and deserve this hat, yeah.
Otherwise, if you're wearing this to the party, I'm thinking frat. I'm thinking, you know what I mean? Like I'm thinking like, okay, but like frat boys have been doing this since the 80s.
Ocean of liquor, right? Ocean of liquor.
Yeah, like this is like an old, like you look at like Weekend at Bernie's and they're wearing this. And, but don't get me wrong, like it is kind of fun, like as cliche as it is, like, oh, I'm the captain of the party, you know, and and I'm not gonna lie, I've never worn one. Maybe I could pull one off, but
you might look good.
Yeah, I think so.
You should get your boater's license.
But here's the thing, though. I feel like unless you really are a captain, I feel like if you were just like in your regular personal boat and you're wearing the skipper hat, like it's like a jackass.
It depends on how big your boat is. If you have like a yacht style, you deserve it. But if you're riding like a little tub boat, Like, what are you doing?
Again, it's kind
something
of
you
like
gotta
the
kinda
top
earn.
hat. Like, if it's not the real deal and formal, it's automatically a silly hat.
Right.
And we're gonna see the same with the cowboy hat. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
it's such a specific use hat that it's like, yeah, if you're not a real deal, like none of us are cowboys, none of us are boat captains. They can look really cool on the right person, but I think for us they're rather not because
I'd almost say on the right person, it's a rather not, because they still look goofy to me. Like, if when you come in with the
yeah,
whole get up, the boots, the spurs with it, it's just like, yeah, you mean it. No, sorry to all our country bound listeners. But you gotta
no
admit, it is a
disrespect
little
to
silly that
Yellowstone.
if you're in 2023, that if you get out of a gosh darn car with Bluetooth in it looking like that, you gotta laugh a little bit.
That's one where here's
Unless
the
you
thing.
really are a farmer or something.
More than
Is-
the captain's
Yeah.
hat.
People
But here's
still
the
use
thing, even if you're a
spurs?
farmer, like a
Probably
cowboy
in
hat,
Texas.
one cowboy hats now are really expensive, like a good one.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Because country music
there's
festivals made their stock go right back up, man.
right.
People,
So cowboy
yeah.
hats are big with posers, let's be honest.
Yeah, they
Like
are.
I feel like a lot of people who like, oh, I want to be country, like guys who like drive really expensive trucks.
Yep.
Unless you're like those guys in
Luxury.
Yellowstone who are rich, but they're like, we own like half the land in Montana.
That's what I'm
When
saying.
like, and my family's been then that's like, okay, you guys are like the rich cowboy types. Like you've earned that. And plus, and they have like a whole, I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but everything they wear is like designer, like Western stuff. So it's like, he's got his like Kevin Costner will have his cowboy hat, but it's like a Sherpa jacket that's like black watch plaid,
Oh
like it's
my
probably
God.
like $1,000 jacket. But that's because, he's like the multi-millionaire, land tycoon. And you're like, okay, it looks fine there. But a lot of these guys, like you said, like some of the country music guys, I know it's their thing, but it's a little bit like you've never worked on a ranch,
Yeah.
It's so much about the context of like who it is and what they do, I guess.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
I was actually thinking about this, but I didn't mention it, but it's a good time to mention it now. Like the flat bill with the suits. Okay, if Jay-Z rocks a flat bill with a suit, okay, this is a hip hop billionaire.
Right.
This man looks good in it, and it
Right.
makes sense that he would wear that.
It's part
But
of
then,
his branding and character. Yeah.
The guys that went to prom, maybe not so much.
Right.
It's all
right.
so it's all about the like who what do you
Person.
do?
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and even here's the thing too. Even then, even if you do fit into that role, just not everyone's got the kind of head for a cowboy hat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, certain like actors, like here's the thing. Even Clint Eastwood didn't wear like that type. He wore like a certain type of cowboy hat. Like even the big 10-gallon one, he couldn't quite pull off. But like if you were someone like Timothy Oliphant and Justified, like he looks good in one.
Oh man, I have to think of that. Timothy Oliphant. No, I'm thinking of Timothy Chalamet. Sorry, I was like, he's got a pretty big head, doesn't he? Yeah.
Timothy
Okay.
Chalamet's totally. He's the opposite of. He's more like a beanie guy.
A beanie or possibly beret.
Yeah, like he's like a skinny hipster. No, Timothy Oliphant is the guy from Justified. He's like
Now I'm
like
I'm picturing him.
the sheriff, and you're like, oh yeah, like you see it on him, and you're like, yeah, it makes sense. But for most people, it's a no go.
Yeah.
But they're not trash. They can look cool, but not for most.
Hard agree.
All right.
What is this hat? This is like the
Fedora.
church hat. Oh, this is a fedora.
But it's a certain kind.
I don't know why I didn't put that together.
When I see a fedora, so there's so many different kinds of fedoras, and I feel very different ways about it. I see this one, like the white fedora, and I think like Cuban guy.
Yeah.
This almost looks like a 10-gallon hat to me. I don't know, but
These can go straight up like that.
they've got that. What do you call that at the top where it bends like that?
I don't know. My
That's
Probably some-
apparently
I know
hard
the
to do.
brand.
Probably
And
some
the
Latin
belt.
term for it that's like the crescent or some shit.
The crescendo of the hat.
Yeah, the
We didn't
descent.
We do no research going into this. I'm just going off the cuff.
We don't do
but,
research because we're always right off of the cuff.
Well, we kind of know like
It's actually
what we're
insane.
doing.
It's scientifically proven we're always right off the cuff.
Here's my thing on fedoras. Obviously, like I said earlier, we went to high school when like the little, so it's a type of fedora with the small brim. It's called a trilby. Look, those don't automatically look bad. If you're a balding guy and you like wear a little hat with a suit, they look fine. But a bunch of neckbeards in high school and college at a certain time decided, oh, I can class up any outfit with this. So they would just be wearing their like cargo shorts and t-shirt and slap on a fedora. And don't get me wrong, everyone went through phases in high school. So if you wore one in high school,
you failed.
It's okay.
You chose wrong.
It's forgivable. And again, like I said, I mean, if you wore it with the right outfit, you could pull it off fine. There's nothing wrong with those. But
I wore some cringe stuff. I used to wear like XL t-shirts.
Man, I used to rock New York like I had investments in it. It's not a bad brand, but I used to rock it way too much.
So that's why I'm saying the fedora, the trilby fedora has really become stigmatized as like the Redditor's hat and all that. But like,
yes,
they can work. There's nothing inherently wrong with them. Again, like the other hats, it's how they're worn. But then you got a classic fedora, like what they wore in like the 20s and 30s, basically until the 50s. And I mean, those looked good, but I don't think I could pull it off. I don't know. Again, that was for a time when men dressed a certain way. We don't dress that way now. So they're kind of a defunct hat unless you're in a period piece. Or if you're like a guy on vacation, again, a balding guy usually, or a middle-aged man, you're like, I want a fun, like, straw fedora. And then you've
got your fedora with your Hawaiian shirt on.
Yeah.
Maybe you're in Florida, possibly.
Indiana Jones made it famous, but if you're dressing like Indiana Jones casually, I don't know what you're doing.
Being single.
I hope you're retired.
Fedora, I don't know. Is it good enough? Because it's like, it can look really cool in like old movies and stuff, but again, it's kind of like the cowboy hat. Like, I just think of like any guy our age wearing one now, and I think he'd look kind of silly. Unless he was like
suited up.
Like, yeah. Unless like someone like really like designed an outfit around it for him, like in a movie, it'd be like, now he looks. But I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think fedoras are kind of like just a meme hat at this point. I don't think there's much redeeming them. I don't think anyone...
That's true, because they just have the stigma around them, even if you do wear them nicely.
Yeah, and I mean, even if you get a girl that's cool with you being that meme, she's probably not that cool of a girl. No offense. So it's just, like you said, obsolete hat, unless you want to try. Maybe in the 2040s we can try again. But
we'll plan for that. We'll plan for that.
Yeah, we'll put that in the time capsule.
I think we got to put them in rather not, just because I think if I saw someone in a fedora, I'd be like laughing at them today. But
we all know what they're gonna look like. Their sideburns are gonna be way too thick. The beard's gonna be way too wild, and they're gonna have a waddle.
No.
Fedoras had their day, and it was good. They had a good run. Flat cap, or like page boy cap, has become another like hipster hat that I also think has been abused. I think it can look good.
Abused.
It's just always worn by the wrong type of person, I think.
Like the fedora.
Often accompanied with a rat tail.
Now it's been like appropriated to be worn by... It used to be worn by the wrong type of person. Now everyone that was the wrong person wears it, and now that's the type of person that wears a fedora. So like...
Yeah.
But this one, it's like, people forget about this hat except the quiet guy. And it's like, oh man, if the loud... charismatic nerd remembered this hat, this would be a cool hat. It's always the quiet guy who wants to like not say anything until you say something about like the Mandalorian, and then he wants to trap you in a corner and talk about the Mandalorian for
often
4
paired
hours.
with a vest.
Yes.
Often paired with a
Like, you'll see
vest.
this hat like on a guy who's wearing a vest over a t-shirt.
Yes.
You know.
Yeah, and the t-shirt is something that's like, I'm a soft boy. Like, it's like something like not My Little Pony, but it's something that's of that ilk.
In
like,
some
I come
ways,
in peace, ladies, type of hat.
It kind of
shirt.
quickly
I come
took
in peace,
over.
but don't test me.
It kind of took the place over.
Don't test me.
But don't try me.
It definitely took the place of the fedora. But especially like when Peaky Blinders, remember they all wore those on that show, and so it was like, oh, I'm bringing them back. Because
if they did some modern patterns to this thing,
yeah,
they could maybe make it
people. You can pull it off in a modern type of look if you have the face and look for it. Like I said, just like the fedora, anything can work with the right vision. But again, this was a hat. It was always considered sort of like a working man's hat, like back in the day from the 1800s. Basically, the whole, actually through most of the 20th century, these kind of went. But then there's sort of the different versions of it, because then there's one that's more, there's like the kind that people would wear backwards, then but that's kind of like a beret version of it. Then there's the version of this that became big in the 70s, I'm talking about, where it was like really big on top, like I'm talking like Soul Train, like again it was more of a black thing, like it had the brim, but it was a really big version of the flat cap,
big to accommodate your hair,
right, with like bell bottoms and stuff. And then those go out of style, and then they kind of came back for a while in the 2000s. Remember, like girls would wear them.
Thanks to Jennifer Lopez.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because it was kind of a throwback then, because it was like, remember in the Bronx in the 70s we used to wear these, and but that's a different type of one. And those actually can be a fun look, but
I think they can look good on, like I said, this just always seems, every time I see people wear it, like even a comedian friend that I have downtown that I do shows with, shout out to him, not going to call you out, but he wears a hat like this, and he's kind of a quiet guy, and I'm just like, it looks good on him, but I was thinking like, man, if I didn't have a fro, I probably would wear one of those. Just because
I have one.
It would look cooler. Well, see, exactly. Someone like you have a more vibrant personality. Not like shout out if the comedian ever listens to this. I'm not trying to diss you, but you are a quiet guy. You have to admit, you are kind of a quiet, reclusive guy.
Just admit it, man.
Just admit it, man. Just admit it, Lauren. Admit it. And so, yeah. So it's always the quiet types that wear. It's like a guy at work named Alex. He wore a vest, and I think I saw him wear this a couple of times. It's always a guy named Alex wearing this hat too. So it's just like, it's better than the fedora, but it's not.
The one I got isn't like truly like an old one, because the flat part of it is on the brim, so you can't see it because of the light so much. But the brim is kind of covered. The brim isn't out. The problem is, so last time I wore this, it was Halloween, I think, and I was the chimney sweep from Mary Poppins. Like,
I was gonna say, get this man a bicycle and a newspaper. Let's get him some deliveries.
I look like I just got off the boat. You know? Like,
like trying to find an opportunity.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah, like a little
I'm
Italian
looking for work.
immigrant. I can kind of pull it off, but again, I wouldn't wear it like as a casual thing. But I can pull it off as like a costume, like if I was in Newsies. But yeah, otherwise, so I hang on to it just in case. But
in case of that day comes.
It's a good vibe though. If you needed something to block out the sun, but you're on your way to, like, I don't know, something a little more.
This one is insulated, though. This is definitely not a hat for the summer, though. It's
I see. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely more of.
It's not breathable.
Winter.
Okay, I gotcha.
Now this one is a
very silly.
Whoa! Hey, now we can't just. That's a whole. That's a whole kind of. There's a whole culture of people.
I'm just resting it there. But this is the Caddyshack hat and the Nardwuar hat.
Nardwar, that's right.
The
Oh,
Nardwar.
God.
I just don't know who couldn't look silly in it.
Like, even while playing or caddying golf,
Yeah.
you almost look like more
What if
of a
you're?
bitch.
It's accompanied by a kilt.
Yes, that's the only instance. It's got to be part of the cultural garb. Otherwise, what do you do?
Yeah.
What are you doing? It has one use. It has one purely ceremonial use. Otherwise, and it's not for the fashion.
Now, what about a hat like this with the little ball on top that wasn't plaid? I guess that'd just be a beanie, wouldn't it?
Well,
yeah,
kind
but
of.
I hate those beanies.
But it's a different shape. It's a more.
Why don't you like the ones with the ball on top? Sorry.
They just distract.
I'm sorry?
They distract.
They do distract.
They distract from the
hat.
hat.
You? From you? Oh, from the hat.
From the whole garb. Really.
Yeah.
Like if you can have a sick fit, but if
I want to see what this guy's wearing, but I can't stop staring at his ball on top.
It's just off-putting, Like, and usually they're like really
distraction.
cone-like. Those hats want to only point up, so now the ball is on the very top of your head.
Yeah.
We're good on that.
Oh yeah.
Look like a magician.
Yeah. Now this next hat, I mean, if you guys agree with this is trash, I don't mind it being.
Yeah, it has one use.
Yeah,
Unless you're
fuck
playing
it.
Bagpipes.
Yeah.
There's no reason to
See, all
wear
the
it.
things we described are not cool things.
Getting golf clubs for other people, hauling golf
what I
clubs
mean.
for other people, bagpiping, wearing a glorified skirt.
Freaking
Like-
someone out with your interview questions.
Yeah. See, like all these are not. Now this next one is like the sunflower. I'm reading the garden type girl or do
Yeah.
Yeah,
the
this
garden
is
type.
the example here is I guess the guy equivalent just has a smaller brim.
Yeah, I don't think the ribbon either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't look good in them, but they look nice on a girl. There's nothing wrong with it. Wear it with a nice
I do
dress.
think it looks very pretty.
I actually
with
did wear a
nice
straw hat
sundress.
to a party once. A straw fisherman's hat, and I got a lot of compliments for it. It's just really impractical to do all the time. But
you might just be one of those head shapes that looks
I do.
good.
It's because I got the fro too, so it helps with with the bloom
Right.
effect the hat does. It's not like I just have a head in there. I have like
it's easy to
fuzzy,
keep it up there.
Yeah, it almost looks like a flower. I almost look like a flower when I rock it.
You know what?
Nice.
I kind of like drawing these hats. You know what? If you're a girl wearing this type of hat, I think it looks perfectly nice. I think most women can pull it off, right?
I think almost every woman could put it off, but I think it looks
At least
really
a version
good
of it.
with
So.
skinny girls. To
I
be
hope so.
honest, I mean,
You're right. You're
Yeah.
right because it's like it's like you got a small body and then this big shape
Yeah.
on top. And
nothing wrong with my bigger
Oh,
girls.
it's
Shout out to all my
mushroom-like.
big
No,
girls. You know I
no,
love
but
you.
it's
That's the only
just-
type I like, but I think
Sure,
that this
right,
one goes to
yeah.
the skinny girls. This will make a petite girl stand out.
Yeah, you're right. So we could put it in the middle. Yeah,
I think it's
because it's
middle.
not
Good
for
enough,
everyone,
good
but
enough.
it's
Okay.
generally
Yeah.
a good hat. This next
I
one,
really like these last two.
these big wool caps. Yeah,
I always
Great for the
wanted one
winter.
of these as a kid. Never could get one. I got one as an adult, and I was satisfied.
They are hard to come by around here. Like a good
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah.
of crap ones actually, but
right.
there's not
It'll
a lot
fall
of good
apart after a year, but like a
Yeah.
good one's expensive because it's real fur and
Mm.
but they do look cool. Yeah, Tim, you could pull one of these off. I don't know if
I
I
know.
could, but
Makes me look kind of like Wilfred from the show. Wilfred.
Wilfred, that's right.
The
I
dog?
forgot about that one. That was a good one. Yeah, the dog is. I don't know. There's something about it too when a kid wears them. It's like they always look good
Yeah.
on a kid.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, look
Yeah.
at you in your big hat. Yeah.
Like very South Park. That with a big poofy
Yeah.
coat.
oh,
yeah.
of course.
It just looks. It's a vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
All day, every day in the winter for me.
Yeah,
I like
I
'em.
could put it there for the winter.
I would choose one of
Yeah.
these over a beanie if I'm honest, just personally.
I can.
Sure, you
So-
would look
so
better.
I
in
would-
that than
I would
maybe
go
a
with-
beanie.
But what about
That's
when
my-
you go inside somewhere?
No, I have
That
to
is
take
the
it
only
off.
thing
You're
true.
right.
It is a
what I'm
cumbersome
saying.
hat.
Beanies are better.
Beanies
A
are
beanie
all
you can
purpose.
just fit in your jacket pocket.
Or just
Beanies are a
keep on.
little bit more breathable.
You can put it in your pocket, or you can just keep it on because, like, I mean, not that they don't look fashionably forward, but after you start taking layers off, if you just have, like, your t-shirt and your pants and that hat on,
Yeah, that'll still work.
yeah.
Where this hat, it'd be a lot.
Yeah.
But if you're, I don't know, but if you're out in the woods, if you're stuck,
Yeah,
this
that's
hat
true.
can save your life.
And if you got the lumberjack on,
Yeah, you're
it
flannel.
always looks good with the lumberjack,
It
yeah.
does.
Yeah, man, that's and now we got a hat
This is one of
featured here
my-
today.
Yeah, I had to say
This
the
is your
best for
summer
last.
hat.
This is my
This
favorite
is actually a
hat.
story with this hat I'll share with the audience real quick. It's actually sentimental. This is my grandfather's hat. And,
I didn't know
he
that.
passed away recently, like a few years ago. He gave it to me a long time ago, but I now wear it almost like I'm passing the torch of life on. You can still live with me, Grandpa, through my head and my eyes, kind of.
That's what's
That's
cool
really
about
cool.
a
If heaven
hat.
gets
You can
boring.
really a hat you can really pass down.
Yeah.
Like a shirt, even a jacket is hard to maintain. A hat is like you just put it on and it feels like you're stepping into the role, like you grew into it. That's nice.
Yeah, that's cool.
And also a bucket hat, you're right. A bucket hat is timeless. Like
It blocks out the sun. It's breathable.
I think if you can pull off a bucket hat, they're good. Obviously not everyone can. I don't think I can, but I don't know. Stupid
I think
in
you
one.
could. It depends on what outfit you rock with it.
That's true, I guess,
Right.
and it has to fit right, and it's how I wear. I would look like Gilligan, but
Yeah, and that could work though. That could work
but
though.
But
yeah,
I could see you with
It's
the
summer.
white bucket hat and a green polo or something. With some
Thank you.
Dom, I could see you with a
Board
totally the almost like the crocodile hunter look. You've got it's all tan. You're going out in the safari.
sure.
I think
In
it
that
gets good.
instance, yes, because I will tell you, man, being out in Florida, out in that sun, even
Yes,
with a full head of
see?
hair, you do just need some shade sometimes, and you're like a little bit of that or some more
I would-
brim maybe.
As
Yeah.
a kid, I would always wear a bucket hat to the fair every year, to the state fair.
Yeah,
because of course we
bucket
lived-
hats look cute
we
on a
have
kid.
that.
Yeah.
They do. Like with a
Yeah.
little. It's a lollipop hat. It's like sort of like one step up from the beanie with the propeller.
That should be on this list. That would be the
Oh, that
is
isn't.
it?
That'll
Yeah.
be the ultimate because you can
That would
fly
be I
with
sleep
it.
with these. I
Gotta
would
do
sleep
an
with
honorable
them.
mention. The propeller hat.
Fly with.
The drink hat's not here. The go
Oh,
team
the
drink
ones
hat.
with the
Oh right,
the one from SpongeBob that was a
number one.
The sleeper clapper
That's gotta
hat
be
that
the-
people forget about.
yes, that's
oh my
right.
god.
But bucket hats, yeah, they're
No,
a
the-
summer hat. They're
These are my
I would-
favorite.
I would put
I would
them.
put these on the top.
I'd put it on the top just because nothing's on the top, but I would honestly put it like every day, all day.
we'll praise the bucket hat.
We'll praise the bucket hat. Why not?
Well, this is praising the bucket hat. Okay, I like.
Well, you know what? To be honest, we gotta be a little fair. I think that the bucket
Out of
hat
all
is
these-
good, but this is a little more practical.
You're right. It is
We
the
gotta be a little
iconic.
fair.
Sure.
So I think that the ball
Right.
cap should be the ultimate.
It
That
really
makes
is.
sense.
It does it all. It's anybody could look good in it. Yeah. No, it's the best. It's well made.
You can make money off of it if you turn it over and do a talent.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's true.
If people are putting logos on something, they're putting logos on a cap like that.
oh yeah.
That's true. Yeah, anyone's
That's what
wearing-
numbers don't lie.
There's a reason they haven't gone out of style in like 90 years.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think people in the 20s really wore them casually, even though baseball was popular. But I think by the 30s, I mean, generally kids wore them casually. But then post-war, I mean, yeah, it was just something a kid always wore.
It's essential after that.
But
So
how do
they-
you know that if you weren't alive back then?
I gotta go, guys. I can't
That's it.
talk.
I
That's
can't
it.
answer that.
All right, guys. So this is the list. This is a Koala Bear gang. We did it. Hats off to us. Hats off to you.
Hats off. Yep. This is
the episode, man. We're right. You're wrong. Grab yourself a ball cap. It's the best hat on the planet. And eat your vegetables. We were us. Yep. You were you. Have a good day.